All right, for the potato lab or end of chapter project, I wanted to create a tutorial to help those that may have a little bit of issues with seeing this three-dimensional object and then putting it onto a flat plane, because sometimes that can be a little difficult, especially if we haven't worked with something like that. So what you're going to need for this project is, of course, a potato, graph paper, a Sharpie, something round so you can trace a circle, and then a pen or pencil. Now I have already done my lines on my potato with a Sharpie, and you want to do your lines of longitude and latitude and mark your poles. So for this one, to make it easier to keep track of where I'm at, I put a little 1 on the first side, a 2 on the second side, and then I put an N for the North Pole and an S for the South Pole. Now you're going to want to take pictures of this potato after you do your drawings, just in case something happens to your potato before you turn in your project, especially if it's gotten wet. So now that I have this mapped, these squares, although they look a little bit mishappen and misshapen, will translate to the squares on the paper, as well as our little quadrants that we're going to make with our circles. You're also going to need a ruler or something that has a straight edge. So just to show you that you can use anything with a straight edge, I'm going to be using this foam sheet as my ruler. Now you want something that's circular that you can either fit, you need to fit at least 2 circles on a piece of graph paper just to make it easier on yourself. This one will allow me to draw 4 circles. So you're going to need 4 altogether. There we go. And so we have our circles. And what these are going to represent are the different sides of the potato. So you have side 1, 2, and then your poles. So we're going to go ahead and label them. Side number 1 and side number 2. North Pole and then South Pole. Just like that. Now, once you get your potato done, you'll need to count how many lines you have going down and how many you have going across so that you can customize your map to your potato size. So for this one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines that I can see on this side itself. So I'm going to need 5 lines to go across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this one has a little sliver, 5. That's to simulate this little sliver that we can see here. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how many lines we can see. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. So on this, the way it's going to work is that potatoes aren't the same shape. They also have grooves and all kinds of different things. And so what this will do is to help you map out exactly where it's at. And for our project, we're not necessarily concerned with the overall shape. We're just wanting to map the surface features that are on this potato. So what you need to do is observe your potato and look for any grooves or bumps that there may be. And I feel one right here. And if we look, it's on the first line and it's towards the about a third of the way onto this line. So we're going to go over here to this one, and it's right here. So we're going to put a circle right here to represent the divots. So I'm going to run my fingers across the potato, and here I feel a little bit of a bump right here, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, the third quadrant, all the way over, and it's up towards this corner here. Go across here, I see some bumps and dots on this next one, and it's right here's one, and there's one. You just want to gently go down, like this is a big divot right here. It's on the third line, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. It's right here. And it goes across these 4 quadrants. So there's a little piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and draw it in. You're just going to work your way around the potato, and I'd work one side at a time. So up here we have a little piece. And I don't really, this one's not as bumpy. So there's a bump right here. There we go. And the next step you'd want to see, is there any sort of discoloration or color changes? This potato doesn't really have any color changes on the side, so I don't really need to add any of those. However, there are some telltale freckles on this, so I'm going to want to freckle my potato spots that I can see. Okay. Now, if your potato has a lot of freckles, I would concentrate on the ones that stand out the most. Okay, so that's pretty much all that we have for this side. And so we're going to flip the potato over to side 2. We're going to draw our lines in for the next side. So for this one, we only have 1, 2, 3 lines. 3 lines across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. Just like this. And then the 5 lines going this way. There we go. So now we have our grid work for this potato. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. And what I'm noticing here on this side is that there is a line right here. So I'm definitely going to want to put that in there as well. It's on the 4th one right here. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sort of look for, of course, this coloration, any divots. And this one, this side doesn't have any divots, but it has a few scratches. And I'd say that was done during harvesting. So right here's a divot. So we're 3 and 1, 2, 3 right here. There's a big divot right here. And there's some scratches around here in this shape and some freckles. So what I would do is work your way around quadrant by quadrant. Kind of looks like a paw print. Now on this potato you can see, I don't know if it picks up on the camera, but you can see some discoloration right here. So I would want to definitely highlight that. So there's a divot, but then there is some discoloration. It goes around here like this. Now if you have any other different colors at home, I would use a different colored pencil or pen once you get this all sketched out so you can label your different areas. Okay, so there we have this one. So you can see how they look very different from the other side, and that's perfectly fine. Now for your poles, it's going to be a little bit different than how we drew these ones up here because we have that circle. So you're going to put your circle in the center, like this, and then you're going to count how many lines you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so some of my lines are closer than others, and that's just how it is on the potato. You'd want to try and simulate that on your paper. And so you're going to do the same thing. You're going to look for any sort of weird places that have divots, discoloration. And this one's pretty smooth. It's a little piece right here. And here's a scratch across here. All right. And then I think that's it for that side. So we're going to go to the next side. Then this one is the one that's got the tight piece. Okay. So same thing. Looking for divots. There's a big one right here. And a little dimple right here. I can see just a little bit of discoloration right here. And right here. Okay. And you can add your dimples in. And there you go. This is how you map a potato. And astronauts actually do this with objects that are in space, such as asteroids that are bumpy and weirdly shaped. Now, what we could do later is then actually draw the actual shape of the potato, but because we have a potato model, we'll be able to look at it this way. But to take that a step further, you could take these images here and then shape them into the shape of the potato on a computer program, and then you would actually have a 3D model rendering of your potato, which I think is pretty cool. But if you have any questions or anything, you guys can pop in during recess or ask me through Remind or Google Classroom or any of our other avenues that we have that you get in contact with me.